Vocational services are designed for anybody that has a disability. People we serve are people with blindness or significant visual impairments, hearing impairments, including deafness or hearing loss, mental and behavioral health conditions, physical disabilities such as birth defects, back injuries, or spinal cord injuries. And there's some more. Next slide.
Yes, I have it. Can you?
Oh, there you are. Okay. Traumatic brain injuries, seizure disorders, intellectual and developmental disabilities, and other physical, visual, or mental conditions that impact a person's ability to obtain, retain, or advance in competitive integrated employment. Recipients of SSI or SSDI, supplemental security income, or Social Security disability insurance. You may be eligible for services if you have a disability which results in a substantial barrier to employment, or require services to prepare for, obtain, retain, or advance in employment, or you are able to obtain and retain or advance in employment as a result of those services. So you can come to us and, oh, I see, next one. All right.
Go ahead.
You know, we have all different types of people with disabilities come to our offices for services. They may have an intellectual disability. They may have an acquired injury that's led to a disability, or their inability to continue doing their job, or they need supports on their job now because their disability has gotten worse and they need assistive technology to help them maintain. They may need additional training for a job so they can increase their income with training. And that can be anywhere from short-term training to a associate's degree, bachelor's degree, four-year colleges. Each one of these services is unique to the individual, okay? Even though all individuals that come to my caseload may have a disability, they all have unique capabilities and interests. So other things that we do in order to get you ready for work or maintain your employment, we'll do medical and psychological assessments, vocational evaluation and planning, career counseling if you're not sure which way you want to go. And that is for customers who are young and they don't have a lot of work experience, or somebody who has lost their profession due to COVID. Okay, and now they're having to regroup on what they're going to do for livelihood, because the way we do business has absolutely changed, and it's different than it was this time last March. Okay. On this job site assessments and accommodations, we have people that go in and evaluate your work site if you need assistive technology. And if now you're working remotely, that's going to have us coming into your home and seeing what's going to help you be a vital part of your work team. Job placement, where we have vendors who specialize in helping our customers get jobs. So it's not just me helping you, it's a job placement provider that's helping. We're teaching you skills that we want you to retain too. Job coaching. Job coaching is essential for a lot of people with disabilities. It helps them learn their job. It helps them have time to kind of process what the tasks are in that job. And that can be, you can be on a job site and say you're at 60 days and all of a sudden they change your tasks to something different. The job coach can come back in and help you learn how to do those tasks again. Supported employment is designed for individuals who need lots of extra added support and long-term supports, okay? And it is a very detailed um, service that we provide. Of course, assistive technology can be anywhere from hearing aids to a wheelchair, to a stand-up wheelchair, to Dragon. Naturally speaks, I believe Dragon is what I'm talking about. If you're using your keyboard all the time, things that can assist you um, with not aggravating your disability. Time limited medical and psychological treatment. If counseling, for example, we can certainly provide you with some providers to pick from. And we always want to practice informed choice. So you're involved in all these services that I'm talking about. You're involved every step of the way. We absolutely don't do this by me sitting behind a desk and saying, you're going to do this, this, and this. I'm going to be talking to you about what are you interested in? What are your skills? What is that a realistic thing? If you feel like you want some additional counseling and you need 15 extra sessions of brief counseling, I'm going to give you some providers that you can pick from. Okay. Work readiness training, and which is just really crucial for young people. I feel like before I was on an adult caseload, I was a transition counselor. And that is where young adults have the opportunity to have a positive experience the very first time they go out and they're getting those jobs. So I hope I wasn't talking too fast. I'm trying to cram it all in there. Um, anyway, if you have any questions, we're here.
So Mel, did you want to talk about how do we apply and how they can reach you?
This is, as I know the slide's up, the best way to reach me is my email and the business cell phone. Um, the process is so that you can call and I will get vital information. And that vital information to start out with is your name, your date of birth, your social security number, okay, address, um, email address. I may ask you to provide information on your Texas IDs, your social security number. We'll enter that into the system. We'll ask questions like, highest grade completed is one of the questions that's on that initial contact. Um, date, and I will send you an appointment letter, and I will send that. Everything is virtual right now. Our offices have not fully opened. I work currently out of a location at 6500 Greenville Avenue in Dallas, Suite 250, 75206. Okay. I always want to say 4. I don't know why I want to do that. But you, at that initial contact, you call me, you ask me, you kind of talk to me about what it is that you need. I'll explain the VR process to you. Direct you to other areas like the rapid contact number in Austin if you need another location. So you'll complete the application with me and I will gather records. I always want to try to, if you have existing medical records or existing documents that substantiate your disability, we're going to use that first because we're trying to move this and expedite your services kind of as fast as we can. Okay. We have certain time frames that we have to meet. So those are initial contact. I have 30 days to contact you. I have 60 days to determine eligibility. And I have 90 days to develop that individual plan for employment. I try to get those records in, get you moving, and use those records to determine your eligibility. Okay. And then we get in, and while you're in eligibility, I'll do a little assessing and planning. I'll start talking to you about what are you interested? What were you thinking you wanted to do? Is there any other kind of evaluations that we need? If you're a person that hasn't worked a lot, you're not really sure what you want to do, or maybe your career that you've had for 30 years is gone and now you need to do something you're not really sure what you want to do, I may send you for a voc evaluation that's going to talk to us about what your interests are, what you might be best at. And then we start talking about what kind of services you need. And that's where I give you information for job coaches, job placement vendors. Uh, we talk about any kind of assessments we need. Um, if you need assistive technology, we have those done, and get quotes on those and see what all we need to keep you employed or get you employed. Either way, what we want to do, the outcome is that we want the services to help you gain employment and improve the quality of your life. Bottom line, we want quality of life and we want an income. Let's talk. Deb's smiling. We're also talking about income. Okay. We're talking about careers, not just the job. We're talking about careers for all people that come. I'm hoping I'm doing an okay job. I'm kind of winging it all. I was thrown off by the lighting here today, folks. Sorry.
Yes, I am.
Oh my goodness. You
So
want to read that?
this here,
Deb, do you want to read that?
this here is just our federal funding page that just kind of tells you how our funds are allocated for the different programs. And then I have here our well, I thought I changed this and put Deb's information here, but it's still the same. Deb and I are in the, we are in the Arlington office. We're in our regional office. And what I can do is put all of our information in the chat, just in case there are any questions for us. Or I can update this and send this to you. But I also want to add, I know Melanie talked a little bit about the timeframes. And our goal is to move individuals through the process as quickly as possible. And because all cases are individualized, some cases move faster than others. So we may have, like Mel said, we may have to request medical records, or even if the individual does not have medical records and have been recently diagnosed, or everybody has been, COVID has been rough on a lot of people. And so you may have been going through things and they come to the church and they're talking to you about how they're feeling and what they're going through, and you refer them to us. If they don't have those medical records, then we can send them out for an evaluation or send them to talk to someone so that we can get an idea as to what it is, what their condition is, or what that impairment is, and what is interfering with their ability to prepare for work or to get a job and keep a job, or to even advance in their employment needs. So although that time frame is there, you know, we do work as quickly as possible, and we move individuals through the process in a timely manner. So although that 30, 60, 90 is there, as what Mel talked about, we don't tend to take that entire time when moving into the process, because we know how important it is for individuals to make a living. I mean, employment is tied to a person's identity. You know, you're able to work, you're able to have a social life, you're able to provide for your family, it gives a person, you know, meaning, you know, to be able to get out there and make a living and take care of themselves. And we understand that. And so all of our counselors, like Melanie said, we are working virtually right now. Everybody is ready, working, and able to provide those services to the individuals that may need those services. So I think now we're going to have Deb talk a little bit about the employment, unemployment, and it was something else she mentioned earlier, Liz, about the unemployment needs.
I was asking more about, I think it was kind of like if some, kind of what Mel was talking about, like someone had been working in the field for a certain amount of time and then due to COVID, they got laid off. And then not only that, but also because of COVID and how the work structure is changing just around the country and around the world because so much is kind of hybrid now, or not everyone's going into the office anymore and things like that. And so if their job has kind of just been eliminated, and so needing to learn job skills and that kind of thing getting at, and I know Mel addressed that a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, and I know that's a lot of what Deb and Billy, what they do with trying to match up our individuals with the right jobs, and they pay a lot of attention to the labor market. And she talks a lot with different employers on a daily basis. I know we just participated in a job fair with Tarrant County. And so she was able to reach out to some of the employers and talking to them about hiring individuals with disabilities. And so, Deb, did you want to add anything to
I'd say that what we have learned from so many parishioners with so many of the different religious groups is that we're all really virtually suffering the same thing.
Mm.
It's community wide. Nothing you're going through is foreign. Yeah, I know that it doesn't change your situation, but just understand that you are in a large group of folks that this is affecting. But what's also happening, these businesses still need to perform. They still need to sell product. They still need to have restaurants. They still need to have insurance claims. We still have healthcare. We have tons of construction going on in Dallas Fort Worth. And with construction comes all kinds of different positions. That's just an industry to kind of encapsulate everything. But there's admin jobs and supply jobs and things like that. And then, of course, between healthcare, construction, the other two that really are very strong in Dallas Fort Worth are professional services as well as the service sector. And in the service sector, those are all of your folks that work in hotels, that work in restaurants, that do the trash, that provide the water to the water pumps. I mean, that service industry can also include folks that do large scale maintenance. They could also be engineers. So the workplace right now is changing. However, the right step to get into your career path would be to determine what direction do you want to go? What interests you? And I will tell you, if you can use this downtime to get yourself any kind of a certification online, it doesn't matter. If you can go to take a class, we do quite a bit of that with our customers because if you come to us, we deem you eligible. One of the first things to say, if we find out that you want to go into the hospitality industry, we're going to send you to potentially a food handlers class, maybe a safety class. We're going to send you to get some kind of a certification in hospitality because all of those things will give you a step up. So keep in mind, when we offer these services and you go do those certifications, you want your resume to stand out against the competition. And it looks much better when you have been doing something with your downtime than doing nothing. And it really is a personal choice to head down that path and I'm going to go get this new career. And we don't like to do what we call do-overs. So that's why we spend a lot of time talking with you in the beginning to determine what career pathway do you want. We don't want you just to get a job that, 6 months later you're miserable in. We want you to go down a career pathway. And yes, that pathway may start at entry level, but with your previous knowledge, skills, and abilities of working with others, being on a team, you name it, can easily feed into how you fit into a new workplace. Many skills are transferable and When I talk with employers, like Marquita mentioned, the job fair we were on last week, we have another big one coming up on Thursday. But they say, Deb, just send me people. I need people. I need people right now. You know, do they breathe? Do they walk? You know, even if they crawl, I need people. We've got some employers, you know, Texas opened up very quickly, it seems. And, you know, it seems like it's always on the national news too, but we're progressing. COVID right now, we've got a 19% decrease in cases. It is affecting our economy. Our economy here in Dallas-Fort Worth is absolutely booming, and we need folks working. We need folks in jobs back at work.
A question for you, Deb, on that. And I
Yes,
just,
ma'am.
if you could expand a little bit on, like you kind of mentioned it, but what are some other things that people can be doing while they're unemployed, just to be maintaining their skills or even advancing themselves? What are some just concrete things? You said going after any type of certification you can get your hands on. What other are some practical things that people can be doing?
Okay. Very first thing that I would do, I say very first thing, is sit down and think about what kind of a career you want to go to. Because everything that you do after that falls into place very rapidly. The next step, once you decide this is the career I'm going to go for, start researching and looking at what are the minimum skill requirements, the knowledge, skills, and abilities necessary to be successful in that job. And then look at your own set and say, hey, how do my skills match what I want to go into? Okay, well, let me add to my skill level. Let me go get a certification in, say, medical coding or whatever, or let's say you want to become a phlebotomist. Researching. It's all in our Texas labor market materials, which are, of course, free access to you, where it can show you the projected growth in a certain profession. I've given you guys the three major industries in Dallas-Fort Worth, and the reason I mention those is because that is a projection of stability for the next 10 years. So if you can get a career pathway into healthcare or construction or some type of professional services, that really will lend you to stability and employment. And that's what we are totally going for. So I would decide on my career path. I can adjust it as I go. And then I would start building my resume around that career and start looking. And then before you go any further, I would develop a profile and work in Texas. That is the Job Central for Texas Workforce Commission. That's where folks also apply for unemployment and things like that. I'm sure many of you are aware of the website. But you go on there and you get registered. And if your profile is set up correctly, you will start receiving many notifications in one day. Especially if it's in one of those what we call in-demand occupations. Okay. Right now, for example, if you're a youth and you're trying to consider you want to go into construction, I say welding. Go to be a welder. We have a huge shortage of welders in the state of Texas. We have guys that are offering some mentor welders. It's a stable job. Yes, it's hard work environment you're going to be in, because some of these welders putting in new pipe in the ground to build the high school. They're down there in the ditch welding. So there's all kinds of environmental things that you want to take into consideration. But it's all available to you on the internet. Google, how does a welder work? You know, or what does a welder do? What's a welder's work environment like? Because there are people that have previously shared that information. There are websites that are set up. I'm on the Tarrant County Workforce Board, but I know that Dallas County has one as well. And there are all kinds of tools within each county where you can pull up, and they'll give you all kinds of free training and coachings and things like that that you can do as well. So it really is self-driven. Melanie mentioned that all of these things we do are with you. And so we do have high expectations. We're like, okay, you want to work? Let's get busy. Let's get busy putting together a plan. Let's work. Make your appointments on time. Don't be late. Be early for your interviews. Be polished in your Sunday best. I would tell people, like you're going to go meet your new mother-in-law or something like that, or new father-in-law. Wear your best outfit and present yourself professionally, and you're good to go. You're on
Great.
those for how they're, it is very hard. We're just here to help and serve the way we possibly can.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
I have another question. Are y'all done with your most of your presentation? Is it okay if I ask another question?
Sure.
Okay. Great. Okay, so
Oh, I'm sorry, I was muted. Yeah, we're done. with
you're
our-
fine. You're fine. Mel, you kind of touched on this. You were talking a lot about assistive technology. And so when I was listening to you, I just was thinking about what if someone is not used to using assistive technology, and maybe they don't even know what type of assistive technology might be beneficial to them, but say they're trying out a new field. Is there any type of almost like assistive technology counseling that you give people to let them know, like, hey, this is what's available, so that if you are on your job site and you're like, oh, this isn't quite working, but maybe I remember, like, maybe there's a technology that could help me, or is there any type of counseling that's given around like just general awareness if someone's never used it before?
Can you hear me? Right?
Yes.
Okay. Assistive technology for our customers, and the first thing is to evaluate what type of assistive technology they may need. Okay. If that, I'll use an example of a man who has a chronic illness, who is losing the ability more and more to use his hands.
Okay.
And he is an IT individual.
Gotcha.
And so his entire career has been based on his ability to keystroke. Just that simple deal. And it's not just his understanding of IT, but his ability to use his own computer. And so what we did was I asked him, what is it that you're having trouble with? Because he was an individual who needed a evaluation of his home, because his jobs have now gone all completely virtual, where he is what they used to maybe call teleworking, they now call remote working. And so he needs to be able to have all that technology at his home. So we sent a vendor who specializes in assistive technology evaluations. And he went to his home and evaluated what he needed, not just in his computer equipment, but things that would help him be more effective and professional working from home, which included the ability to open doors, because he's losing his ability to literally operate anything. Special light switches that went on in his house, so he could turn on his lights. And as you guys saw earlier today, I was like, oh my gosh, my lighting in this room, I didn't realize it may be quiet, but it's dark in here. And so his whole presence that he presents to employers, coworkers, and everything else is really based on, how you look on a computer screen. So The assistive technology is an assessment that we do for anyone that feels like they need assistive technology to do their job or be successful at their job. That could also be hearing aids. Okay.
Mhm.
Assistive technology is all different kinds of things, motorized wheelchairs versus a standard wheelchair.
Mhm.
Okay. Because the individual now needs to be in have access into a smaller workspace. I had one client one time who was I, I hope I say this right. What she was she is the person in the operating room who takes care of all the tools, and she needed a stand-up wheelchair so she could stand up. And if she wasn't able to get those things, then she could have lost her job. So that's what we got her. Okay. You know, that's what we worked for. And she was able to maintain her job and keep her job and advance in her job.
Okay.
So I hope that's a good example of assistive technology, but it can be as simple as a pen that records a lecture. Y'all know what I'm talking, remember what I'm talking
Oh, yeah.
about?
Mhm.
The pen
Definitely.
actually records the stuff in there, okay? Which will help people who are in school or help anyone who's ever gone into a business meeting that has a disability, okay? It can be, it's very customized. That's the thing that I always like to stress with any service, with anything that we're doing, it's customized to your interests, your capabilities, okay? Are
Mhm.
those realistic? And each person is different to a certain extent of what they need. And we want to get this right the first, we don't want to do a mulligan, as they say in golf, okay? We're wanting to get that thing going correctly the first time. Okay, so we're getting it right. And that gives the individual also a better insight into their own disability as well.
Mhm.
So I hope that's a good example. Is there anything else that maybe I left out that you guys can um, expand on?
The only thing that I did want to add to that, sometimes the technology can be, or assistive technology can be very simple. And it was, when I was previous HR manager, it was the Texas workforce voc rehab folks that came in and helped me understand how simple it could be for me. And like with some of my folks that were deaf, how am I going to tell them that it's time to go on break? Well, we changed a policy where they were allowed to carry their phones and it could vibrate in their pocket
Right.
for break time. It was a very simple way where, but you change the workplace at the same time, because now you've got these individuals out on, out working, carrying their cell phones, and so you have to make exceptions. But most of the technology that we use, that's our role to know what we think will help you. So you don't know what you don't know until you ask somebody. And so that's what I tell folks all the time. Well, I don't know what JAWS and Dragon and all these other softwares are that folks use that are losing their vision, but
Right.
I sure know how to go and ask somebody and
Yeah.
find the information. And so the best thing to do is contact us, reach out, and working with employers. I have employers, they'll start to see signs of something going wrong, but they don't know what it is. Uh, and so we're talking about specific things, and do they feel comfortable enough to approach their employee and say, hey, and if they don't, maybe you can leave some of my cards laying in the break room or something. I mean, somehow we want to try to get our information to the folks that need our services so that they are on a level playing field in the job or going for a job or career advancement. as everybody else.
Know that, you know, it's a lot of individuals, it's a great program. We know that a lot of individuals could utilize our services now. And we just want to make sure we're helping. All of us are in the helping field and we enjoy helping individuals. And so we just want to make sure we're helping any and everybody that could benefit from our services, because we know everyone wants to lead a meaningful life and everyone wants to be employed doing things that they enjoy. So we are definitely grateful for this opportunity to speak to you all about our services. And as I stated, like if you have anyone that you would like to refer to us, Mel is an awesome counselor. And Mel, you've been here just as long as I have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been with the agency for over 9 years. So, and I've worked with individuals with disabilities for the past 17 years.
Yeah.
And so we all have a passion for what we do. And we're here and ready to help anyone that may need our services.
Right. And I wanted to add, don't hesitate. If you have another question and you know, we go offline and you go, oh, I should have asked that question. Do not hesitate to email us that question or even call us on those cell phones and ask us a question, and we will answer it if we can right that second. And if we can't answer it then, we're going to get right back to you by the end of the day for sure. Okay.
That's awesome. Thank y'all so much. This has been
You're
really
so
informative.
welcome.
I'm sorry that my internet has been so blippy. I know I lost you guys a few times, but I think you guys were able to continue study on. So thank you so much. And we're going to get this recording up and posted on the Belong YouTube page. And I just appreciate you all taking time this evening to speak to our community. So thank you.